weird now though. Let's see. You have to get used to this. Basically what I found is that my horses have become healthier when I base them on, you know, their natural forage diet, and then you add grain versus grain and then hay. Sometimes people had it backwards, but so that means I go through hay pretty quickly because all mine are Hoovers and love their hay. But it's made a difference, and knock on wood, my colic incidences have been lower since they always have something to munch on and they're never standing there with acid building up in their stomachs. And I have my nifty little scale. I either use the net when I fill up a net for the ones that are bad about wasting hay. So I know exactly the poundage that they'll eat in that time period before they start trashing it. Because they like to just pull it out of the hay net and then it sits on the floor and then they pick and pee on it. So generally, they're supposed to be fed 1% of their body weight, which for a 1,000-pound horse, that would be, well, that would be 10 pounds. No, it would be, I think it's 2%. Because it's like 20 pounds a day, I think, per horse. So for like each feeding, depending on the horse, I like to give them at least 10 pounds. So, like Johnny and Tate get 15. I have a 800-pound pony, so he's gonna get, so I do it set on pounds, right at 10. See, I'm right. Perfectly guessed. 10 and a half. Boom. Again, this stems back from the bad colics that I had several years ago. And instead of just kind of adding water to their food just when it's cold or what have you, horses' guts have to work hard to help digest that food. So if I already kind of give them water in the food goes, it expands, so you don't have to worry about choke. It eliminates choke, which I've never had a problem with any of my Buckeye products and choke. And it just helps, it's easier for them to digest, and they like making a mess. But it really is an easy way to eliminate kind of worrying about your horse water. And it especially is important as we come into the winter months, because you have, especially in Georgia, the temperature changes where one day it'll be 70 degrees and the next day it drops down to 40. And it just really helps them stay balanced and their guts to stay happy. And during the winter, I give them warm water in their feed, and that makes me feel better. But they eat it up well. And then there's no drastic change. Like, I don't have to go, oh, they're going to get a mash tonight versus the next day where they have dry grain. So it just has really made a difference, and it's really been proof for me because my horses have been pretty healthy. And again, we're knocking on wood because it's horses and I have a lot of them, but overall, it really has improved the health of my horses. Having the slow feeders, the slow feeding hay, adding water to grain, and then also feeding an incredible product. Uh-oh, the door's shut. Can you not turn around? No, you didn't do it. That was not it. Oh. Forward. Good boy. I need to teach him to do it on hay bales, but then he'll probably going into the hay stall doing it. Did you sit yet? You're there. Wait, no, back up. Back up. We're so making a mess in the shaving stall. There's a good sit. Yeah, you did it. He loves to sit. Good boy. She thinks she's learned to like smile at the camera. I think it's really funny. Arquin's story. He was captured as a yearling from the Divide Basin HMA in Wyoming. And then he sat in Canyon City for 3 years. And I got him, picked him up in January. And he's actually owned by Ellie Price. And there are pictures of him on the internet. And my good friend Amanda Wilder was going to Canyon City and taking pictures of horses, and I always came back and looked at him because he had his funny markings. And so I sent Ellie a picture because he looked like he was built decent. He was being a little rude. And one of her old horses had passed away, and he reminded her of her old horse, so we ended up getting him, and he arrived in January, and he's probably been one of the easiest Mustangs to train. And he figured out domestic life was pretty good, and he jumps well, he moves good, and he's pretty fun to ride. So we've been taking it slow because he's only 4, but hopefully next year he will be out competing and eventing, and we'll see how it goes. He still has a lot of growing to do. He measured at like 14.3, but he's got another 2 inches to grow since the rope test. You're not getting any more treats because you're being a little nosy. So that's the story. People tend to really like him because of his markings, and then he's also got the modeling around his butt and his pee-pee. Those are characteristics of Appaloosas. His coloring is unique, whether or not it's called vitiligo, where that's just loss of pigmentation around the eyes and the nose. Or he could have what's called I think it's the LP gene, which is carried in Appaloosas, where he could like essentially just change completely different colors. But it'll be a year in January, and he hasn't gotten any lighter. He's stayed like his black color. But he does have the striped feet, so I need to send off his DNA because there are some tests to see if he has that gene or not. And then we would know more so what you are. But he's pretty fun. We named him Arquin, which at the time when we were looking at his pictures, Ellie was in France. And so instead of naming him Harlequin, we named him Arquin, which is the French version. That's his name. Arquin is a French version of a Harlequin clown, which is a goofy clown with black face and white markings on his face. Yeah, that's what you are. Silly. Emmett was rounded up as a 2-year-old. He's coming 4. I flew out to California and went up to Burns, Oregon. And they had just been captured and stuff, and so I handpicked him. Picked him out. And then he came down south, and I liked him because of his build, and he's still growing. And he's been a very good boy. See, I'm big and yellow, and I don't look like your typical, stereotypical Mustang. So, hopefully he's another one that is owned by Ellie, and he will be eventing. So hopefully he will go far. But Emmett, he's been a very good boy. It's been a very easy Mustang, and I've enjoyed him a lot. He's goofy, but not in kind of, he's, I don't know, how do I, we have a really good connection, so I really like Emmett. And I feel like he likes me. But he's a big baby still, like he's kind of figuring out his body, but he tries really hard, and he's never been one that's been like naughty by any means. He just reminds me of a big young warm blood baby. And as far as the mentality goes, like, because he is a 3-year-old, I've had some that come around a little bit quicker, like as far as in their training and stuff. But not that he's not as smarter. He's smart. He just has a lot of body to kind of learn to use, and so we've just taken it slow. But overall he's a really good, sweet boy. So I think he's gonna do well. But his personality he's a good friend. He's a good friend, right? Yeah. Oh yeah, so it was funny when I came back from Blenheim. I hadn't seen him in forever, and so I walked in a stall, and he kind of like snorted at me, but then he came over and started sniffing me, and he was like, "Oh, it's Mom! It's Mom! Hi, Mom! I forgot! I missed you!" And then he was fine. But he's funny because he's so good, and when I got him and Wager came together because they came from the same herd, he was the more curious and kind of the easier to get to and work, especially from the beginning, versus Wager was more skittish and a little bit more distant in the beginning. But he's more shy maybe with new people, versus Wager's like happy to see anybody, but he really thinks he's gonna get treats because he looks cute. Oh, did you decide to give up? But we've had a connection from the beginning, but I don't know, we'll see. He's a big yellow banana boat. You're a big yellow banana boat.